Hi, this is John Westfall, and I'm recording this video to talk a little bit about this tool, PHPMyAdmin. This is a tool that I've referenced in a couple other videos for the open source survey subject pool system, and I've thought about it, and one of my co-authors, collaborators, Evan, said, people might need to know about what PHPMyAdmin is, and I think that is a great idea. So PHPMyAdmin is a web interface into a MySQL or MariaDB database server. Database servers, to those of you that are not really familiar with them, are essentially collections of spreadsheets. That's typically how they look. They're tables and tables of information. And so this tool allows you to get into them and be able to work with them in a much more friendly environment. If you are not using a tool like this, you're actually using a terminal interface, and I can show you what that looks like real quick here. If I open up a terminal, I can log into the database, and so I can issue a command like show databases, and it'll tell me that those databases exist. I can tell it to use one of them, so we'll just use the Lime survey, and then I can tell it to show me the tables, and then I can have it give me data, so I can use a select statement. Select all fields from Lime users. Now, if you've noticed, this is not the prettiest interface. This is pretty ugly. Even if I were to make it much bigger, it's still not that pretty. So let's do that exact same thing using MySQL or PHPMyAdmin. I'm going to log into PHPMyAdmin. Over here, I've got all of my databases. So you remember, this was the same thing I saw when I gave that list databases command up here, show databases. I'll find the Lime survey. I'll click on it. And here's all the tables. So Lime users was the one that I selected everything from. It's on the second page here. If I click on it, it automatically does that exact same select statement, select all from Lime users. That's the same thing that I told it to do down here, select all from Lime users. But instead of seeing this very ugly interface, I see this interface, which is much more like a spreadsheet like I might see in Excel or any other spreadsheet program. I'm going to hide this list for a moment so I can get a little bit more view on here, and then I'll walk you through some of the features of PHPMyAdmin. So if I'm going to edit any of this, in this interface I can nicely click on Edit, and I can go through and change any of these values that I want to change. In fact, if I want to, I can actually get it to give me the SQL statement that it will use for that. So say I want to change the email address from westhilladmin@localhost.local to westhilladmin@johnwestfall.net. I can actually hit preview SQL and it'll tell me, oh, this is the statement that I am going to run to change this. Now, if I take this and I copy and paste it into that command terminal that I was just in, and put a thing in there, it will actually change it. So without me actually changing it here, if I then, so I'm just going to go back and then go forward again, you'll actually see that that statement that I just put into the command line did change my email address. There's that johnwestfall.net instead of localhost.local. So this isn't doing anything special that you couldn't do through command line. It's just making it a lot easier for you to do some of these things. And some of the operations are going to be much easier through this. So editing is much easier, duplicating, deleting out, adding new rows. So up here, if I want to, I can add a new row to this particular table. There actually exists, yeah. Oh wait, there it is. Sometimes it's right in front of you, insert. So if I want to add a new user, I can do that right there. If I want to search, I can do that through PHPMyAdmin much easier than trying to remember the syntax. So if I want to know all email addresses at johnwestfall.net, now there's only one table there. I'm going to say like johnwestfall.net, hit go. It found me that record. It wrote this statement here for it. If I go back to the database level, I can also copy direct tables over. I can make backups of tables. With selected, I can either empty them, I can do some maintenance functions, add table prefixes. All of these things are much easier through this interface. I can also directly run SQL statements if I want to, so I don't need to be bouncing back and forth. I can simply do it here as well. And there are some operations that are useful. I can rename the database, so maybe you want to copy the database and then do all of your new things in a new database so that you don't mess up your old database. That's good. And there are plenty of other features that you don't need to worry too much about, but they are here that you can play with. PHPMyAdmin is free software. It is open source software, and I would encourage you to install it on your server. You do want to make sure that it is locked down in some way. So if you are running a firewall, which you should be, you do not want to allow access to PHPMyAdmin from outside of your own computer or another computer, because it does typically have the ability to log in and change data in a bunch of different places. So you want to make sure that it's secure. But that's PHPMyAdmin. Hopefully this has helped you out if you've never used this tool before, and let you see that it's really just a nice pretty front end to something that can be a little bit ugly at times, the actual command line SQL interface.